Hello and welcome, everybody. We are going to talk about everybody's favorite subject today, and that is summer reading. Now, obviously, a lot of you students are probably getting very angry at me, and you're saying that is a lie. It is not our favorite subject. I know, it's all in jest. However, I am excited about this year's summer reading because I think we're offering some new and exciting options for you that I think you will like. And honestly, it's putting a lot of the responsibility on you guys. So if you end up not liking it, it is somewhat because of you. So we're going to get into it. This video is only going to cover a brief overview of summer reading as a whole, and then there'll be other videos on specific components that you could just watch whenever you want. Now, this is going to be for grades 9 to 12, and it also covers CP sections and honors. If you are an AP student, this does not apply to you, so disregard it. AP summer reading is much different than this, but if you are going into grade 9, 10, 11, or 12, and you are either in the CP or honors section, or if you are in a lower section than CP, then this applies to you. So, just as a brief snapshot, though, here's what's required of you. You need to read one fictional book. That's right, one fictional book. You don't have to read two. You don't have to read three. It's one. Now, just so we're all on the same page, when we say fictional book, we're talking about a novel. We're talking about a book that is made up. It is not a non-fiction book. So it's not a biography. It's not a journalistic type of study or anything like that. It's not a science book. It is a novel. But you can choose any book you'd like as long as it's fictional. Now, the other requirements for this is, yes, you could choose any book you want, but the parameters are it needs to be grade level appropriate and at least 150 pages. Now, I'm not going to explain the 150 pages because that's pretty straightforward. You just find a book and make sure it's at least 150 pages. Most grade level books are going to be that anyway. Most are actually going to be over. Now, the ambiguity comes in with grade level appropriate. What is a grade level appropriate book? Because some of you are going to say, well, Dr. Seuss is grade level for me. No, I think we all know that it's not. Now, generally speaking, I'm going to say that grade level appropriate books should be for ages roughly 12 to 17, 12 to 18 range. Usually the books, especially if they're young adult books, will tell you on the cover what the approximate age is. If not, you could always look it up online as well, and you can look up different reading levels or sometimes what's called Lexile levels. I wouldn't go by that all the time, but it at least gives you an estimate. So some of you are probably sitting there thinking and I'm not necessarily advocating any of these books, but a book like Harry Potter, sometimes like 4th and 5th graders read it, but the reading level is more so in middle school, and you could get other books like that as well, like Percy Jackson series are usually middle school and up, right? So the idea here is just to make sure that you're reading something that you might actually like and that it's at least 150 pages and is roughly in your age range. Because I read those books too, and I'm above that age level. So that's why I'm saying it's a little bit ambiguous when we talk about the grade level of a book. Now, with that in mind, you should certainly check with your parents and make sure that they are fine with whatever book you choose to read. They probably know anyway because you're going to the library with them or they're purchasing the book for you. So just make sure that you are picking a book that goes with your conscience, that goes with what you are actually interested in as well. So we are no longer providing you with the choices. Now, with that being said, on the Google site, there will be a link to a bunch of recommendations that Mr. Dowdy and I will put up there for you guys. We are not recommending those books for every single person. They're just books that we know are in your age range and in your interest level. And we typically get that through online searches or through books that we've read. But again, you have to do your own due diligence. You have to research the books yourself and make sure that it's going to be something that you not only like and will enjoy reading, but also something that you know is appropriate for your own well-being and spirituality and all of that. So check with your parents if you're unsure. So now moving on, here are the goals of summer reading. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because if you understand these goals, you will know what's expected of you throughout this project for all of summer. And when you're reading your book, you can pay attention to these things. So you'll see that there's 4 goals, but the last one is in blue because it is a bit different than the other ones. The first 3 are more so about English-based skills. The 4th one is about your 21st century skills, your technology ability, and things like that. So the first goal is essentially asking you to determine at least 2 themes from a novel and then analyze it throughout your book. So you pick a book of grade level appropriateness, you pick a book that is at least 150 pages, and as you're reading, you're going to be coming up with what the themes of the novel are, and you're going to try to understand the intricacies of it. How is the author creating this message? How are they making it interact and build on one another? Because there's probably more than one theme. Now, remember, at this point in your English career, you know that a theme is much more than just one word. So you cannot say that the theme of Percy Jackson is friendship, because that's only one word. What is the author saying about friendship? Is it positive? Is it negative? It should be a full statement. So you're going to have to create at least 2 of those from your book. Now, the second goal is you're going to need to be able to analyze how the book itself is structured. And by that, when we're talking about structural elements, we're talking about how does the author choose where to begin the story or where to end the story, and what does that even mean for the message of the story? Why does the book start off this way, in this setting, with this character? Why not some other choice? So really think about the significance of the beginning. Think about the significance of the ending. Maybe the author made a choice to actually provide some comedy in the book, or maybe there's a tragic resolution where people die, or maybe somebody gets resurrected. You have to pick out those structural elements to the plot and then discuss how it contributes to the overall meaning of the story. And guess what? When we say overall meaning of the story, we're really talking about theme, which was goal number 1. Now, the second component of this goal is to analyze how the structure here not only interacts with the theme of the story, but also establishes the beauty of the work, or what's known as the aesthetic appeal. In other words, does this make people like the book more or not like the book more? And yes, part of that is subjective. Part of it is based on your opinion. However, a lot of it is based on what we know makes a good book. Right? We know overall if a book ends a certain way that it's just dumb and stupid and it's not a good book. But in contrast, we know that if it ends or begins a certain way that other books do, it makes for great literature and it makes you appreciate the work. Now, with this as well, you could analyze the choice of words that the author is using as well. You could analyze the plot diagram, right, of the climax of the story, whether or not you think that it adds to the story as a whole. Those are all different things that you can do when analyzing your book. Now, the third goal is you're going to produce, meaning create, organized writing, which means you have to have fully developed ideas. You have to organize those ideas in a logical way so that we understand you. And the style in which you write needs to be appropriate to this task, which means you're not going to be writing in slang. It means you're not going to be writing in texting speak. You need to know what the purpose is. And the purpose here is to inform your readers or your listeners about your book in an intelligent way. And then the audience is myself, is potentially other students. Because one thing that I want to make clear here is even though this says produce clear and coherent writing, you're going to see that this could be interchanged with clear and coherent speech or videos, because you're going to have an option between those. So those are the 3 big goals. Now the 4th wild card goal is you are going to make strategic use of digital media. In other words, you're going to be posting things online. Now, it doesn't have to be public for everybody. It could just be ending up with myself or Mr. Dowdy. But essentially, you're going to be creating stuff and putting it out there for some people to see, even if those some people are just myself and Mr. Dowdy. And all of that is going to relate to the 3 goals that you did before. So those are the overall goals, but how are you going to achieve these goals? What do you actually have to do? Well, you have 3 options. You will create a blog and essentially write about your book and answering those kind of goals that we went through. You're going to vlog about it by creating your own YouTube channel or just creating videos that end up getting posted to Google Classroom on the first day of class, or you're going to create your own podcast. And if you're not sure what a podcast is, look it up and maybe start listening to some podcasts that might interest you. So those are 3 options you get to pick from. Now, you're not beholden to any one of these. You can actually mix and match. So you could end up doing maybe a couple blog posts, a couple vlog posts, and then a couple podcasts. You could do 5 podcasts in 1 blog. You can do a mix of things. And some of you might go above and beyond and exceed all the requirements because maybe you find this to be fun. Now, the rest of this presentation goes through the specifics of each option, but we're not going to cover that in this video. That'll be in another one. So that's just the snapshot here. This is just the overview. You pick 1 book, grade level appropriate, roughly 12 and up, and it needs to be at least 150 pages, and you know the goals. You know what you should be looking for. So with that being said, stay tuned for other videos that explain the summer reading tasks a little bit more.